Let's begin. How do we go about this idea of structuralism? Is that simply we begin with who gave the idea. So, Ferdinand de Saussure was the man who gave this idea of structuralism. We'll go into detail when we do structuralism. This is just the basic how we are going to go about this in our classes when we begin. Um, we'll analyze each of these separately when we begin, but what did Saussure do? We'll deal with the concepts he gave, the basic concepts of structuralism. Today we are only going to do this part of his study. The idea he gave of dividing language into signifiers and the signifieds. And the concept is that these two also help you in generative perspective. Like we saw in the images we had previously, it did help you in analyzing the signifiers you had. You had a pistol, the one he made out of his hands. That was a signifier for you. So what is a signifier? We'll go into that later. Then you also had something around his neck. That was also a signifier for you. So in any text, you can find so many signifiers, but you do not engage with these signifiers very closely. But once you are deep into literary theory, you will look at each word carefully and why that has been used. Now, pistol and nose are two different signifiers, but in the image we had, we find that these are not two different images. Pistol and noose both represent one thing, which is death. And another meaning generation out of these two is that uh, the choices a Kashmiri is given. He is given to choose between a rock and a hard place, which means in any case he has to accept his death. Now, coming back to the concepts that Saussure had given. Saussure did not study pistols and noose, of course. But what did he say about language? Saussure said that any language is composed of two aspects. One is a signifier and another is a signified. Signifier means any image that you see, which means this is not the image that I showed you from the film images. But what I will write now here is the image that you find. So what I'm writing, watch this carefully. This is an image that you are seeing on your screen, and when I wrote this, some meaning was generated in your head. So this image, and when I pronounce it, when I speak the word, a sound is generated. That sound too is what a signifier is. So this that you see in front of you, what you see in front of you here, one, this is also a signifier, and when I say it, pistol, pistol, the sound is also a signifier. He says the language is not just this, what you see on the screen, and the sound that you make of the word. The words he makes use of are easier words like the image of VAT and the sound of bat is called a signifier. Then what is a signified? Signified is the mental image that is generated out of it. What comes in your head is the signified, the mental image of this. The mental image when I said pistol, The mental image that was generated in your head when I said bat, that is a signified. So the idea or a concept that comes into your head becomes the signified. What was referred to, what the word referred to becomes the signified. So these are the two basic concepts of the theory of Saussure's structuralism. This division of language into signifiers and signified is what is basic to the understanding of Ferdinand de Saussure. But this is not just it. This is just the basic idea of dividing language into signifiers and signifieds. He also says, second point that we'll do today about Saussure, is his idea that how is it that meaning is generated of a word? How is it that the members of a community receive a single meaning when we say mm, English speakers? For English speakers, this signifier has one signified. And when I say or you see or I say mouse, English speakers will generate similar signified in their head, and this because of this common signifieds we are able to communicate. So language is based on this common sharing of signifieds. And it's only in a single language that signifiers are common. Otherwise, in all the languages, signifieds are common. Say for example, in one language it's called a tree. In another language, the same tree is called a pool. Kashmiri. And in another it's called in another it's called any other language you know of. It's called shajar, tree. I don't know of any other language. Okay, Hindi. So what you see in all these examples are different signifiers. These are signifiers. So the signifiers are different in different languages, but the signified is common. To all these speakers, what comes to their head is the common thing. So they all have a common signified. So Saussure gives another concept that meaning generation is only possible. Meaning generation is only possible because of the words that he gives, the concepts I write in red, because of a difference. What does he mean by that? He says that meaning generation is not only possible because everybody has accepted upon the meaning of a tree to be a paid, the meaning of a kul to be the same thing, the meaning of this to be this. So it's not that community members agree to these meanings, but community members agree on something else. They agree on something we call a difference, which means they agree that when somebody says a tree, he did not say free. He did not say me. Or he did not say a plant. I got this one out. He did not say a plant, he said a tree. So that's why you were able to generate a meaning of the tree, because a plant is different from a tree. A tree is different from a tree. They do sound alike, but they are not exactly alike. Tree and plant are in some way alike, but they are not exactly alike. Similarly, tree and me may have some close relation in terms of being signifiers, but they are not similar in terms of their signifieds. Clear? So this concept he called difference. Meaning is generated only because of possible difference. Easier examples that can be given are of difference, the concept of difference. He says, you understand this. Something came in your mind because I did not write this. And also, I did not write this. So because this has a different signified, this is a different signified, this is another signified, this is what makes communication possible. Communication is possible when members of a community do not just agree on association of one signifier with another signified, but when signifiers have a differential relationship between each other. Signifiers have a differential relationship between each other. The rest of the theory will be done in detail later, and each of the theorists will also be done with in greater detail. And how is it so was then pre-worked upon by those who came after him? How is that the same concept of structuralism was made use of by Jacobson in the study of poetry? How did Roland Barthes make use of the theory of structuralism? And what is he known for? And then how did Derrida come up with the concept of deconstruction, or something we call post-structuralism, because he disregarded the ideas that were given by Ferdinand de Saussure. So that's it for the demo session. Any